Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 16-ounce Canvas, the Art of Craft Beer podcast. My name is AJ Kierans, and I'm your host here each and every week as we do our part to introduce you to the artists and designers from around the world who help bring some of our favorite beers and breweries to life. This week is no different. We are rocking and rolling episode 180. Sarah Hedlund here is part of season 16. We caught up with Sarah back episode 37. The new location for Toppling Goliath had just kind of opened or was in the process of opening, and it just really been wonderful to catch up with her great stories, her RBG, the notorious RBG vote poster that went kind of viral, and just catching up on what's new with her, how she's holding up. And obviously, we're doing a video. So we're trying this out. So far, so good. Rocking and rolling. Good to bad. We're learning, editing, figuring it out. But we hope that everybody is doing well, that you're being safe. Please, 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 please wear a mask. It's not a really crazy ask. We just want to be able to get together, maybe go to a beer fest, maybe go to a brewery, a few hugs, high fives, just some random things. So again, you're listening to or watching, seeing, streaming. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, retweet, share, upload, download, wherever it is. But we're cranking on the YouTube. But whatever you're down with, you can really hear us. Google, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, the like. So we make it easy for you. So this is a great episode. We really, this season, our focus and our goal is to catch up with some of the, original cast of characters. If you'll notice, we have a little bit more better branding now. Much love to Zach Brady for all the work he did on that. And get in touch. Let us know what you think. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? I don't really care. It'll be fun. I guess I'm pulling for the Kool-Aid man himself, Mr. Andy Reid. But, all in all, will just be nice to sit, relax. I would say here, but this is really the studio, my home, my office, my therapy. It's my world. So anyway, I ramble, and it's even worse on video. So let's get into it. Episode 180, Sarah Hedlund, Toppling Goliath, AJ Kierans, 16-ounce Canvas, the Art of Craft Beer podcast. We're getting it pretty good right now. I'm terrible with estimating, so I'll wait for the news to tell me where we are. But I think we're I'd say 8 inches is my rough estimate right now.
Yeah. Am I?
Yeah, you're good.
Am I too dark? Okay.
No, I'm really I have a light over here every week. I'm so pale. It doesn't. I don't know what's going on, and
I have a hatred for overhead fluorescent lighting, so my office is all lamps.
Then if I turn this, what does this do? Is that better? I'm not sure if that's better.
It's up to you. I just get migraines, so I keep my workspace super dark.
Well, I like it in the dark, but then I'm I have to figure out this, and then Googling that was the worst decision I ever made. Is perfect lighting for the day. I was no, I'm good. 3 cameras, and then the people I've seen some crazy setup. I'm just this is good. It'll be different tomorrow.
Do you even know the ring lights?
It's over here. Yeah, I use it over here.
Fancy as shit.
Well, my wife had. Then I was she wasn't using it because she's now back in school, and I was can I try that? And so I tried it. It's on this side, and I'll probably try it somewhere else next time. But I was trying backlighting. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It's just more fun to be yeah.
Solid underlighting like Frankenstein. That's the
glowing. Yeah, just be at the thing, hey, or I'll be the neighbor from a Home Improvement and just talk to people over the fence like this every time.
There you go.
How are things?
They are what they are, man. I don't know. It's how does anyone answer that question anymore?
I've been leading with that. Then it's one of those ones I'm I want to take that back. Because just I don't know. I'm not. Oh yeah, today's good. Today's a good day.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it this way of like, I'm healthy, my loved ones are healthy, I live in a house, and I am still employed. So I consider myself
Yeah.
lucky.
Right.
So
Like my stress is that I don't get out of the house and I don't like see people. But
yeah.
I mean, your point. Yeah, my father had it. He's fine. He's recovering. My brother had it, but they're all in Philly. So like, I mean, obviously, mental health wise, it's tough. Like just not seeing people. Like you kind of
Yeah.
realize that like a good hug goes a long way. But yeah,
Yeah. I feel like we're all gonna be like really inappropriate huggers when this is over. Like there's
right.
gonna
I think
be
we came to a point. Yeah, didn't we come to a point where it was like like Joe Biden extra hugs was like kind of like teaching people how not to be. Now it's gonna be like, okay, it's been 45 seconds, and you really gotta let me go now.
yeah, I think we're all gonna be inappropriate huggers for a while, for sure. Or just really socially awkward. Probably both. Like I definitely have
Like air high fives, like hello, hey, how's it
yeah.
going?
Or like when you just have like when you do have to talk to people, like check out at the grocery store or something, and you're just like someone's like, have a nice day, and you're just like, yes. And you just like answer it wrong, and you're like, shit, I don't
Like
remember.
bananas. You're like,
Yeah,
no, it's not. Yeah.
wrong word. I forgot. So yeah, we'll all be weird. It'll be fine.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be good. It'd be a good chapter in the story. So I think it'll be good. I think all things. Yeah, it does seem like it's been like a decade now, like in one. So we'll get there.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
watched was that movie? Like Where Did You Go, Bernadette? I think is the name of
mhm.
it. Um, and I was telling my fiance, I was like, "Oh, this movie came out like 5 years ago, and I've always wanted to see it. It fucking came out in 2019." And I like almost started crying because I was like, I would have bet everything I own that this movie was like 5 years old. Like, and it's just that realization of like your concept of time has just been so severely warped for like 10 months.
I like there's an ad campaign, and I'm not one to like hype commercials, but it's just like things from like the past. But it's like 2018. It was like we went to the movies, and it was like and I was like, oh wow, like it just like so seems so surreal right now. Yeah.
Yeah, all those like little normal life things
Hmm.
feel super see yeah, like even watching a movie, watching people like fight and they're screaming into their faces, I was like, "Oh my god, there's so many germs in between them right now." Like it's like, "Damn
Ooh.
it. It's going to take so long to like like unkerfuffle our brains from all of this." But
If everybody uses kerfuffle though, I think that would be like if that word becomes more used though, like all right, it was worth
it'll
it.
all be worth it.
Yeah, it was all worth it because we added like good words into our vocabulary versus I forget. Yeah, I think there's a word got added recently to one of the dictionary. It was just kind of thing they gave up because people just have been using it for decades and it wasn't a word. I forget what it was, but it made me angry. So team kerfuffle all the way.
Nice.
Well, thanks so much for agreeing to do this. I look back to see when we had you on. It was episode 37, which is kind of crazy because we're at 179. Um,
Yeah, what year was that?
it would
Was it
have to
like
be it would have to be like either I'm trying to think. It was either end of 2017 or beginning of 2018.
that
Let's
sounds
see.
about right. Because yeah, I was telling my
Yeah.
fiance that I was doing the show again, and he was like, "Oh, didn't they just interview?" And I was like, "Dude, we didn't even live together then, and like we're
Yeah.
like engaged, buying a
December.
fucking house now."
Yeah, December 2017. So like that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a long time
So
ago.
like 3+ years ago. And then you and I randomly met at CBC in Nashville.
Yeah.
And then you were randomly in Connecticut. Like, no offense, like no one's randomly in Connecticut. And so you were randomly in Connecticut for top of guys like lunch in Connecticut, which now seems like so long ago. So
Feels like a lifetime
yeah,
ago.
I feel like we're gonna do Christmas dinner together soon at this rate. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. But it just I mean
I run into you so many times.
yeah, exactly. I don't see people that often. So like to see someone from Iowa twice in like ever is amazing. So yeah. So when we last spoke, it was kind of you guys are getting ready for the new location. Like how are things? I mean, you
God.
still it's kind of cool because I think you guys still have like the I'll sell my firstborn for this waxed out, but then you have all these new brands that it's so cool. Like you have put your own mark on all the labels, which are great to see.
It's insane to think that it's been that long, first of all, that we were just building this place. A lot has happened. So yeah, I mean, this giant building went up and it's super huge and it's kind of insane to think about where we were before in comparison to this building. And then it became like a really big tourist spot. And that's been an interesting thing to watch in Decorah as a whole, like just really become way more of a tourist destination. Even this summer with COVID, I think a lot of people from like Minneapolis, Rochester were looking for small weekend trips. And this place was just like swamped. Like the whole town was just like full of people, which was really weird. But yeah, no, I mean, it's been very cool to like see the company grow. And I mean, we're just now hitting our 30th state of distribution. And when I started here, we had 3 states of distribution in 2016. So like a lot of growth and a lot of new partners. And then my job has just changed a lot. So I think when we talked before, I was still wearing like 1,000 hats and like running way too many things. So, you know, I ran our bottle releases for the first few years that we were in this facility. The last one I did was like, I think 3,500 people. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is really stressful. Especially with, you know, over 100 staff. It was a ton to kind of coordinate. So I got out of doing that. We hired on somebody to take over our merch. So somebody else runs all that. I still do the artwork for it, but she does the ordering and yada, yada. So now I actually get to just focus on the art, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always joke that it took me 4 years to get the job that I applied for in the first place. And then we've hired on a marketing director. So she's working on the actual like high-end marketing stuff. And then I get just to work on the creative and draw super weird stuff and make labels and work with the sales team a lot. So I do all of our point of sale, you know, liquor store displays and artwork and signage and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty nice to finally be doing what I applied for.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, that's not the job, but I'll get there eventually. And
yeah, I'll do like 8 other people's jobs, and then eventually I'll get to just keep my own job in the end.
I like professional. I like being part of like a ground up type of thing. Like I like when you have to wear a few hats, and not forever, but like when you do that, it's kind of like you see things and like I hate that term 3-dimensional chess because I feel it's used all the time in like politics and it's kind of dumb, but like you just see things in like a different way than you would before when it was a very like, okay, this is my one job. When you wear a few hats, I think you also like appreciate people a little bit more and realize you were probably doing 2 or 3 jobs at once at one point in time, right? I mean, so like that's the reality of it. And it's like, and you don't realize it. I mean, you do, like you're like at the end of the day, you realize it, but in the moment, it's like, okay, we got to figure out, we got to plug this hole, we got to fix this. And it's like, you would never be like, well, that's not really my job description today. I can't help you, but
yeah,
good
that's
luck,
I've
everyone.
never said in the 4 years. Right. Like now I can say it mostly just because I don't want to step on other people's toes. It's legitimately your job. But yeah, I was talking to, anytime there's like a new hire within our marketing department, they're like, what, you were doing what now? Like, how did you, but why? And I'm like, because they needed it. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't just, when it's a small company, you don't just be like, well, guess you should just hire another person. No, you just like, you figure it out because it's like, there's no one else to do it. So it's been very nice. Yeah, to go through that process. And I think you're right. I think it makes you more appreciative for other people's jobs and understanding all the, a little bit more the scope of the work that they're trying to do and how your job affects their job is also a huge part of it. Like if I miss my deadline, I understand the domino effect. Whereas if I had come in now and have only been, the designer, I maybe wouldn't get it. You know what I mean? That I'm like causing chaos in all these other departments. So I think
I need 2 more weeks here. It's not really, I don't really have the depth and shading of these labels that I was hoping for. Like, no. Yeah. We're opening in this state tomorrow, and you get that. Yeah. So it's
exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to finally get to be focusing on the artwork so much more. Because there was a time there where I was doing so many different things that, unfortunately, the artwork was getting squeezed to like, you've got 4 hours in the day left, and now you have to make a whole label. And I was like, that's not really, that's not great. That's not ideal. So yeah, I was excited that the company supported my scheme to hire somebody else to do the marketing director piece of it, and really let me focus on the art side. So that has been our focus for the last few months, is getting that person in and really letting me just kind of dive more into the artwork, which has been pretty cool.
That is awesome. And one of the questions that we asked, like it was a new question we probably got mid like 75, 100 that I was really proud of. And you saying 30 states and all the artwork. How do you organize your files?
Ooh, that's
Super
like
nerdy, but like
is
to me,
nerdy.
as soon as you did 30 states, I was like, it was like Transformers. I was like, where are we go? Like, I was like, where does she start? Where does it go? Is it state? Is it? Yeah, yeah. So,
I organize by brand. Well, kind of depends on what you're doing. So, like, if you're looking for art, it's by brand and it's alphabetical, right? Obviously, because it's on a computer. Um, and then I have like a separate area where I keep all the sales stuff. And then I
mhm,
organize that mostly by pseudo sue and then everything else. Because then 90% of it is someone's like, I want a
mhm.
dinosaur eating a popsicle on a rainbow. I don't know, whatever, like weird stuff. So I keep that kind of its own place. But the brand specific stuff, yeah, I just do it specific to brand. And then I actually just have one big folder for distro. So like if I'm making something specific to a state, I'll just email it to them. But everything else I have in like a giant Dropbox that all distributors have access to the exact same artwork.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, something I do for one state can work for another. So I kind of try to keep as much access to that stuff as possible. Um, it is not a perfect system though, because then there's like, TTB is its own like giant section, and the photography, which I don't do anymore. So the woman that does that organizes that totally differently,
Yeah.
So like we kind of have these little like pockets and we all kind of control them. At one point I tried to go through and be like, we're going to have a universal file naming system. And
Oh, good.
I
That
came
was
in.
my what? No, what is your naming system? Because I use like name. I do Camelback and then do like name. I try to avoid spaces. Like I have a whole yeah, version, like date, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did like, I usually didn't do date. Well, I do date on some things and some things I
Right,
don't.
because then you work on the morning and then you work on it. It's like, oh, nothing really changed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I usually like my big thing is just like the brand name. I always put like a 0 at the beginning if it's a template, so it's always at the top of the folder so you can
Hmm.
find it because that drives me nuts scrolling through stuff. And then OL for outlined at the end of the art file, so you know like what's typable and what's like flat art. But I came in 7 years, into the company, so it's like I
Yeah.
walked in behind. I think there were 3 designers before me, and then I was the one show pony for a while, one trick pony. And then now we have how many of ours now? I think 5 in the department now. So it's
Yeah.
just a
All
free
bets
for
are off.
all.
No, yeah, yeah.
So we have our folders really well organized. The file names, there's no method to that madness at this point.
Yeah, I hate spaces. Like it's just like I got one today. It was like one space dot png. Just like it was something totally random. I was like, I'm like, I'm not really. I was like, I don't know. What do I like? Did I say something? It was just one of those. I was like, I'm just gonna swallow this one down because I'm on a board and we're trying to organize our marketing. And I was like, she made this. She went out like, let's focus on all the positives that went into this, not the naming. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can save it however I want to save it. So that was like, all right.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, and then it's also like it would take you weeks to go back through. And then you have to relink everything if you change the names of every file, which that's also like a huge deterrent. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like if you go
Yeah.
into a big file and you're like 87 unlinked links, you're like, damn it, what did I do? So we mostly just we organize in chunks. This is stuff's for the website, this
Mhm.
stuff's I don't know. And nobody else really touches the art files because I'm the only one that does the packaging stuff. So it's kind of my own little, we all kind of have a little worlds that we work inside of.
Is there any like major difficulties like with new states, like but with regulations and stuff? Or are you able to kind of
Um,
use a lot of this stuff?
yeah, no, not that I've heard of. I mean, I know some states they require ABVs on them, and we don't list those on our packaging.
Hmm.
But we haven't really run into a lot of those. So as far as the packaging goes, no, I haven't had any real issues with like any of the
Oh,
states
good.
or anything. So, but with COVID, obviously, we've had to pivot a lot with packaging. So we're actually going to be doing pressure sensitive labels on some of our cans, on our rotational brands this year instead of direct print. We did shrink sleeve for a little while, but like nobody was super jazzed about them. Like internally, just like I don't know, the texture sensation in the hand I think kind of puts a lot of people off, and then like the can's not recyclable once you put the shrink wrap on there because it's covered in
Oh,
plastic. They're super expensive. So we've been playing around with pressure sensitive, which at first I think we all were a little like poo-pooey about, but for me
hmm.
it's really nice because I can do like full range color again, because
Okay.
direct print is like a super limited color palette. You can only do like 6 ink colors on there. So it gets pretty boring. So I'm pretty jazzed about getting to use.
So what is pressure sensitive? I probably know that. But
It's a fancy way of saying a sticker, just
okay.
a label stuck on a can.
I like that. I like that better. I'm going to start using that. Oh, pressure sensitive.
Yeah, so it's been fun. There's a lot of new brands coming out this year. So I've been able to, there's been a lot of art requests, which has been pretty nice. And then we're doing a lot of collabs, and those are my favorite because those are weird as hell. So they're just like wacky stuff. So I really like doing those because they don't feel as high pressure, right? You know, it's not like you need to make a brand that can, I don't know, appeal to a large range of people. It's like, it doesn't matter because it's like
this may never happen again. Yeah, this may never happen again.
It's never happened again. And it's two breweries that people are excited about. So you know that beer lovers are going to go out and pick it up and try it out and enjoy it. So I really enjoy those ones.
So what is the process there? Does it depend on where it's brewed? Who kind of
so whoever's brewing it names it usually and then makes the artwork. And so, you know, the ones that we're doing on site here, I think the brew guys have named the first two collabs. They're so weird. Oh God. They're super weird. One of them I can tell you because it's at TTB right now. And so once they approve it will become public. So like in 3 days, it's safety porpoises. And it is porpoises wearing PPE. So I literally had to draw like porpoises and like safety helmets and vests and like headphones. And I was like, I'm not even going to ask you why. I'm just going to do it. Like,
do you ever feel like they're fucking with you? It's like, hey, just draw this. And like, oh, let's do what she said. You're like, all right, cool. Here we go. Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. If someone's going to throw me a name and I don't have to name something, I'm just going to do it because naming beers is a nightmare. Like it's so difficult and we're not small enough anymore, right? To be like, oh, like if we get a cease and desist, we just won't do it again, right? Like we're in 30 states, we're investing in, you know, a lot of packaging and boxes and all this stuff. So like when we do launch a brand, we have to make sure that it's not a name that somebody else owns. So it's hard. It is super hard with so many breweries. That is definitely something that, yeah, if somebody else comes up with a wackadoodle name, I'm like, cool, we'll go, let's go. Like, because if I argue with you, we're going to lose like 3 months of trying to name this thing and probably end up where we started anyways. So.
Okay. Now, do you trademark it or do anything like that with the names?
Yeah. So anything that we put into distribution, we do get trademarked again, because we're investing in so much stuff. So like if it was like a draft only and it's in our tap room, I'm not going to mess around with it. It doesn't matter. But if we're investing enough to be putting it into distribution, because we have to, not only the art and the packaging, but somebody has to sit here and register that brand in 30 states. Like that takes, I've never done it. I'm going to assume it's not super easy. Like takes a lot of work. And then the sales.
Do you know who does that? Do you know who does that at Toppling?
Yeah. Her name's Nicole.
Let's shout out Nicole. Yeah, Nicole.
Down the hallway. And she one that poor soul has to register everything. Yeah. And then the sales teams, you know, they have to build those brands in with all of their chain accounts. Like, you don't want to do all that work and then be like, whoops, we can't use that name, because then everybody has to redo everything all over again. So again, going back to that, understanding the cascade that you can create if you don't do your job correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. Ripple is not just a great Grateful Dead tune. It has an impact. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think, I know that I think it's fun to do like topical things or whatever, but I just find it really lazy. I mean, I see it a lot, and especially in beer, like, oh, just a beer name. And it's like, well, you ripped off all the IP, you weren't creative, you couldn't come up with a name. And it's like, I don't know, it just means just like lazy, because like you're saying, right, you'll get the cease and desist, but I don't know, if it's a really good beer or a good product, like you should want it to come out again. I don't know. I just,
well,
I'm always just like, oh, come on, you're killing me. There's
a fine line too between like paying homage to something and just like ripping something off. So that's something we try to walk that line too. You know, when we made Dolphin Sparkles, that was very much inspired by Lisa Frank, you know, and that was just based off of me making a joke about Lisa Frank, the brewer, not knowing what I was talking about because he was a boy in the 90s and not a girl. You know, and then I was like, oh, we should just name it something stupid like Dolphin Sparkles. And he was like, I love it. And that was like the easiest beer name that's ever happened. But, you know, that one to me, it's like, yeah, that's that line, right? Of like, we could have named it I don't know, like Lisa Stank or something. You know what I mean? Like we could have like really leaned into it, or we could have like legit replicated one of her designs. But you don't, you know, because then you're just ripping off Lisa Frank. It's like you can give it that vibe without blatantly stealing somebody else's thing. And as an artist too, that's just, you know, it sucks when it happens to you. So you definitely don't want to do it to somebody else, especially on such like a huge platform, you know, like
it's hard, right? That's the big, right? Is that the big, that's kind of the big fence. Is it an homage? Is it a ripoff? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think in the vein of is one, like if you can say, oh, this is in the vein of this person, that's not ripping them off. But if you're trying to figure out how to recreate the font so you can change one letter in like the name, that's kind of, that's a little question.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the font is like a bubbly font. It's not the scripty Lisa Frank font. And like she did dolphins, but her dolphins had really like a very specific way that the face is drawn. And it's like ours does not look like that. Like ours is like a, you know, it's an off-brand Lisa Frank kind of vibe. You know? And I think that's the important.
But it's like Captain Crunch is like Captain Church, and he's like, oh, he's got a beard instead of a mustache. You're like, no, dude, it's not the same.
yeah. So no, I agree with you. I you know, and I'm definitely a big proponent of just like make your own thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like why wouldn't you want to make your own thing that then becomes something, you know? And then that's cool.
Yeah. And speaking of your own thing, I'm just going to say how fucking cool it was, your vote and telling that Ruth sent you. That thing just exploded and it warmed like
crazy.
Yeah, I just got warm and fuzzies and I loved every bit of it. Yeah, it was awesome. So that was really cool.
I for sure happy cried a lot about that experience. That was really, that was a very overwhelming. That was like one of the only wonderful, overwhelming things that happened to me last year. Like it was like such a terrible year, but then like some really amazing stuff happened in that year too. So that was a very cool experience. That was not expected.
Yeah, I think that's been what's really cool because I follow like everybody, and so to see in times of like difficulty, where people go right to their art and their design is like this outlet, and to me, it's just. I maybe years ago wouldn't have realized that, but in a way, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to cry today. I'm going to yell today. I'm going to be whatever. But when I do this, it's kind of like, all right, like it's almost like an exhale. And it's been wonderful. It's just been really great to kind of, I get the warm and fuzzies with that. But I've kind of, it's been one of my nice appreciations with connecting with folks like yourself is like, I feel it. And I'm just like proud, like, like that's fucking great. You know, I wish I could do something like that.
Well, the irony is it's one of the simplest designs I've ever done in my entire life. Like it took me like 8 minutes. I was like, really? You know? And then there's stuff I'll spend like 5 days on and it gets like 4 likes. And I'm like, what the? Okay. But I think to your point, I think it's because it did come from the heart, right? And it was a devastating moment. I mean, like I no joke, was hysterically ugly bawling on my couch for like an hour before I made that. Like I was not okay, you know, like it was just like, it just felt like such a kick in the gut, you know, like within everything that was going on last year. And I think that's why it resonated with people. I think so many people felt that way. And it was like just such a gut wrenching thing to have happen to everybody. And I think everyone felt like there was a real loss. So I think that's why it took off. But it was weird. Like I had a friend, I woke up the next day and I had like all these text messages. And my one friend was like, dude, you went viral. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I got on my computer and I was like, oh my God. Like Facebook couldn't even tell me how many notifications I had. Like it was like 100 plus. And I was like, what? Like I didn't know it did that.
Like I'm used to like 6, maybe 7.
Yeah. Like now it's like 2, maybe. But no, it was wild, man. And like people kept like sending me screenshots, like so-and-so posted it. Like famous people are like posting it. And like Martin Luther King Jr.'s son posted it. And I fucking lost it. Like I was like bawling. And my fiance's like, what is happening? And I was like, I don't know. Like it was an insane experience. But it was really cool. And I was able to raise like $16,000 and donate all of it to progressive charities. And a lot of it went to Georgia. So I felt real good when Georgia turned blue. So it was
like, really cool. And that's been great because your Stacey Abram like Queen art was awesome. Like I think it's just been really great to see. Another artist we've had Garrett Moreland does like photo, like he does pretty good like life sketches, photorealism, so to speak. And he did an awesome RGB, and I was like, dude, RBG. I was like, dude, you got to release it. He's like, oh, it's just a lot of work. I don't know. I was like, please. I was like, please. I was like, I'll help anyway. And so I was just like waiting. He's like, he like messaged me, I'm gonna do it. So I was like waiting like a hamster, like to get a release so I could have it. Because my wife's a teacher, so she could have it up in her school. I thought that would be, just a cool way for her kids, to get it, and yeah, I just think it's wonderful.
No, I agree with him though. I totally held off for like the first day or two. I was like, oh, this is gonna be such a pain in the butt. I don't know when to do it. And everybody was like, you have to, like, it's free. And he got ripped off by like everybody in the world there. And like there was like 20 shops on Etsy and Amazon selling like my artwork ripped off like immediately. And everyone was like, you need to stop them. I'm like, why? It's helping. Like, I don't care. I'm not keeping any of this money. Like,
right.
If any of this helps push this in the direction that I wanted to go, that's all I care about. So it was a really intense experience. But yeah, I filled like over 500 orders out of my living room, and it was super cool. And then I just started giving the
shipping sucks, man. Shipping sucks. Like that is the worst. Like people are like, oh, you should sell your prints, and I'm always like, I have my, oh yeah, old AJ was like, yeah, why don't you sell more of those? And I'm just like, and having to sell even glasses. We did a limited run of these glasses. We raised money for small businesses and the ACLU, and it was 150 glasses, and it was it's just a pain in the butt. I mean, it's just like,
oh, dude, glassware sucks.
Yeah,
like you
it's like you gotta go. Yeah, it's like I bought these little boxes and I had a whole thing, but thankfully I had like I found a website and I could print them, but it was just I just put at the bottom. I was like, it may take up to 2 weeks. I was like, I hope to get it to you ASAP. Some people get like the next day, other people get like in a week and a half. It just
Well, yeah, and I mean that was the crazy thing for me is like I was trying to do it before the election, obviously. So you're like in this really weird tight spot where you can't just be like, you'll get it when you get it. But then the post office was like breaking down at the same time. So it was just. But people were super cool. I think I had like 2 customers that were like, where are my stuff? And everyone else was just like super chill about it. So I definitely was lucky there. Like, I think everyone was just so excited to be participating in something, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of them were following me on social and were just like, oh my God, this thing is happening. And so people gave me a lot of leeway, which is nice.
Nice. It's awesome. And you've also been doing a lot of your own stuff, right? I mean, are you finding you making more time? Is that more of your day to day? I feel there's a lot more of your work that maybe more you're sharing more. I know around Halloween you always have your 30. You're still keeping that going. I'm impressed. I didn't know. I was like,
that's my 7th year.
Yeah. So every time I see it, I'm just like, all right, she did it. Like, all right, good. There we go.
Yeah. No, well that got crazy this year because the Ruth thing happened right in the middle of it. So I was literally filling orders all night long and then doing an illustration every day and working. And I was like, this isn't good. And my one friend was like, you should just stop doing the Halloween thing. Like, you don't make money off of it. And I was like, no, it's like I can't. Like, I've declared that it's happening. I can't just not do it now. No. So, I mean, I think with COVID and everything, just being stuck at home, I've definitely been making a lot more art than I was in the past. And just experimenting with stuff more. Then I think also part of it is that this summer, I mean, even before the Ruth Bader thing happened, I just kind of started deciding that I wanted to start making pieces about issues that are important to me. So I made one about Martha P. Johnson for Pride this summer that I was really happy with. And the Stacey Abrams one and the Ruth Bader. That's kind of been something that I've been wanting to put more effort and more time into because I am a very opinionated person and I have a lot of things that I am very passionate about. And I don't tend to make a lot of public facing art about it. And it's not for any particular reason. Like I just haven't done it. And I have found that like that is the stuff that people are really responding to, because they can connect with it. Whereas a lot of my other stuff is like pop culture reference. So it's like, if you didn't watch Young Frankenstein as a kid, then you're not going to know who the hell Farbucher is and not understand why I just posted this. But if you are a person paying attention at all to current events or have a pulse, like you're probably going to respond to some of these other pieces. And I've been lucky. I haven't had like any negative responses to those pieces, which I have been very surprised about, but it might just be there's a very self-selecting group of people following my artwork. So Yeah.
Like Mom and my cousin Judy and
Yeah,
Sam.
right.
It's like, oh, good, yeah.
Everyone in my family has the same political beliefs, so it's been a smooth sailing. So it's been pretty nice. But yeah, I've been making a lot of my own stuff, which has been good because what else are you gonna do? There's only so much TV you can watch before you lose your mind. So
Oh yeah, we've gotten pretty deep into stuff. So like, when in the past you'd be like, oh, I'll never be able to catch up on that show. Now you're just like, all right, I can probably catch up to season 6 in like a month. You're like, all right,
yeah,
let's give it a shot. Yeah, we're good to go.
yeah, that's true. Like we just went back and have been watching Fargo, and that was something that I just was like, I don't know, I missed the boat, and now we're like, well, we watched 3
Now
seasons.
how far back? Because like the new one with Chris Rock is
That's
the
the
newest
4th.
one, right?
Yeah, that's a 4
Okay.
season. So we just started the 3rd season like the other night. So it's been fun. I don't know. But yeah, you're just catching up on shows that like your friends watched forever ago and have been talking about. But yeah, it's like before you're never gonna be like, I'll go back and start the Game of Thrones. Whereas now it's like
Right.
you could, like it wouldn't matter. You got the time. So
Yeah. So I know. Okay. So I know that I've been watching too much Netflix. When last night we were watching, it's called Lupin, and it's on Netflix, and it's I think it takes place in Paris, so it's French overdubbed. That I was able to identify the overdub voices from another show that we watched on Netflix, Money Heist. Did you watch that one?
no, I don't think so.
It was like it was a Spanish show, like a crime, like a heist crime, and we're watching this other show, and I go, "Oh, that's the professor, and that's the young whatever." And like that's a weird like party trick I can do. I'm pretty good with voices. I can't tell you like their names, but I can
Yeah.
tell you like this is the guy from this and this and this. Maybe it's because of the doing the podcast. So I was
Yeah.
able to name 3 of the voiceovers from the other show, the like these European English voices that and it was like it was so that's my I don't know, man, it's my fun party trick. I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of like maybe I'm watching too much Netflix. I don't know.
Yeah. We kind of we watch more movies than TV. Like we're both
Mhm.
really into movies, and we've gotten really bad about that. Like when we're watching movies, like that's so and so from that movie, and I'm like, oh my god, we're those really annoying people when you're at your friend's house and they just can't
Mhm.
shut up about who was in this other thing. But we watched Can't Hardly Wait the other day. Remember
Mhm.
that like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
And I'm obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like it's a
Yeah.
problem.
Okay.
And like 8 of the people in it were people from Buffy. And I was like, oh my God, it's Tara. Oh my God, it's Saz. Oh my God, I was just freaking out. I was like, this is terrible. I'm just in some 90s spiral. I need to take a break, take a step back. So yeah, I feel you.
It's good though. Like we do the series because at least it's like the movies. I usually fall asleep, so anything over an hour, I'll fall like I'm bad. So I'll wake up and be like the end, like credits. I'm like, how'd it go? And so the series, at least I can catch up, know where we are. But yeah, so I just how are I obviously we let off with like how are you, but what's the we're at 30 states is how does that work? Like how do you convince a state to carry you to get to 40 states? Like what's that process like?
So our GM, Kurt Weimer, does all of that. So he works on the kind of distribution side. And a lot of it, I think, is more that there's certain states that we're kind of going after just because the beer scene or maybe contacts that, the upper management might have with people, just the, word on the street that like, this state needs more craft beer because some states are super saturated, right? Like Connecticut,
Yeah.
Massachusetts, like good God, it's a lot. But then there's other states where it just isn't. Like, you know what I mean? There's especially as you get farther west or farther south, the craft beer scene. Not to say that they don't have a craft beer scene, but it's not as just flooded as some of those other markets are. So I think that sometimes can be kind of the push for it. And then it's kind of just like, he always kind of talks about it like a dating game. Like you're trying to find the right distributor because once you sign a distributor contract, like you are in it. Like they
Yeah.
always call it, it's like a marriage. Like you can't just be like, I don't like you, okay, bye. Like it's a whole process. So they put a lot of work into kind of shopping around and talking to different distributors and making sure that they find one that really is going to make Toppling Goliath a priority because any distributor can sign us on and then spend 99% of their time selling Bush and Bud and, Smirnoff Ice and all this other stuff. and then just be like, well, this is our craft portfolio and we don't really talk about it, right? Like we try to find distributors that understand craft and care about craft beer, and understand the quality that we put into our products. And I think that's important too, because we are such a high price point with a lot of our products, that you have to be with somebody that understands why it costs that much, because they need to understand that to be able to sell it. You know what I mean? Because the alternative is you get a distributor that signs you and then is like bitches about your pricing forever. And it's like, well, you knew it when you came in. So, because yeah, we do have a higher price point, but we definitely consider ourselves like a higher end beer. We have, super good ingredients, and we pay our staff really well, have really good benefits for everybody, and then are always investing in like top of the line equipment and everything. So it's not a lot of corner cutting going on, so that costs money to have that kind of quality from top to bottom.
And now you guys have some of the most sought after beers still. So how does that in a COVID world work? Is it kind of just like you throw on paper towels like we're in Puerto Rico, or like how does that go? Like,
so we have had bottle releases since COVID started. So our first one was in May, and that was drive up. You just drove up and then people loaded it into like the back of your car and you just drove away. And then every release since then, they have offered a completely just drive by, pick up your stuff and go. And then our tap room has been open since the state reopened to the bars and restaurants. I don't remember what month that was now. So there's an option. Like if people want to come in and sit inside, they can. If they're not comfortable with that, they can just pick up and go. And then we've really become a lot more lax about like proxies, whereas before we didn't allow that, but now it's like, okay, we're allowed proxy. And one person, I think at one of the releases, they had one guy that picked up like 23 orders, and we did the math and I was like, oh my God, if that dude gets in a car accident, it's the most expensive car accident ever. Like, so I was like, that is an intense road trip. Like, you are responsible for like thousands of dollars of beer. But it made sense, right? So you just had one person instead of
that guy's super fucking cool. He's got 20. I mean, I don't think I would have 23 friends, let alone 23 friends who won a special lottery to
they
like
must
whatever.
be in a group on like Facebook or something, I would assume.
Yeah, they want a bot. Yeah, if you're in that group and you want to send one to the podcast guy, I appreciate it.
Yeah, but it's smart, because then you have one person instead of 23 or 25 people coming down to the release. And then we do, our tap room is super huge, so we are capable of spreading people out more. Our tap room is insanely large, so that is helpful. So yeah, that hasn't really slowed down the bottle side of it. We don't ship bottles or anything like that, so we haven't been able to do that aspect of it. But we have been doing a lot more smaller bottle releases instead of kind of keeping them all for one giant release. We've done like 500 bottles here, 200 bottles there, that kind of thing, and then spreading it out over time. So I think our Assassin release in May, it was a whole month. Like you had a 30-day window to come pick it up. So again, it's that idea of like, we can't have 1,000 people standing outside, obviously, right? But we can have 1,000 people over 30 days spaced out by an hour each, whatever. So they were able to kind of pull it off that way.
Oh, good. Yeah, I gotta look into that. I think it's exciting. I think people are adapting, which is pretty. People's like I like it because innovation just makes shit happen. You figure it out. It's not ideal, but just kind of
it's actually, I think, led us to improving our event process, because there's been some stuff that we were kind of like, we didn't need to make this hard. Like, like just some of the stuff was like, we were kind of over planning it or like overthinking some stuff. So I think there's probably going to be things that, even when we get to whatever the hell post-COVID is going to look like, if that's a thing, that will probably keep, just because why not? You know what I mean? Like if there are a group of people that want to just drive up and get their beer and get the hell out, cool. Like whatever, dude, like have at it. You know what I mean? They're going to do it anyways. Like why not just make it easier for them? You know what I mean? So I think there's going to be, I don't know. I think it's always good when you have to pivot, even if it's for a terrible reason. Like there's a learning opportunity there for sure.
Yeah. Now, how many SKUs, like how many beers now are in distro? Like I feel like there's so many new beers coming out all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, we have our core obviously, and then we
You have a
do.
cheat sheet, don't you? You have a cheat
I know
sheet,
I'm
don't
looking at my
you?
calendar over here. It kind of depends. I mean, we try to kind of wean down during the slow months. You know what I mean? January is always slow. It's right after the holidays. People are dry January. Everyone's all chubby from their cookies and everything.
I just did dry January. Yeah, we're back
Yeah.
on the booze. Yeah.
So, that's, even pre-COVID, that's always been a slow time. And the summer is always a heavy hitter. So this time of year, we're gonna have our core and then like 2 or 3 rotationals, but in the middle of the summer, we might have up to like 5 rotationals happening.
Mhm.
Within that, like seasonals and collabs and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of hard to keep track of. And then in the tap room, we have a lot of exclusives, or kind of test batches for something that we might put into distribution later on. So at any given time, I don't know, 10? I don't know. I don't know. It also depends on how long it sits on a shelf. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
some places there's 2, some places there's 5, it's kind of hard to say with the rotations that go out
Yeah.
there.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, I literally, I think I had to do something. I had a personal thing I had to take care of, and then I was down by the bar in Connecticut, and I went in, and it was like, oh, Toppling Goliath launches Connecticut. And I was okay, and then it was like a triple take. I was like, so why didn't Sarah? Like, you're not supposed to be here, and you're just like, oh yeah, I came along,
Ah,
and so yeah, so you never know. I guess you're gonna get.
yeah. God, that feels like a million years ago.
Oh,
I
it
remember
does,
eating
yeah.
really good hush puppies while I was out there.
Oh, is that over? Yeah, you should have gone to New Haven. I think you go to New Haven for the pizza. Did you do the pizza? No.
I don't know. I think we ate a lot of food. I think
You should fire that person if they did not take you to New Haven for pizza. But yeah.
we did get pizza somewhere that was supposed to be like the pizza place, but I don't remember now. I just remember, God, was that the trip? We had one trip where our brewmaster kept ordering the worst things. Maybe that was Tennessee. It was the whole trip. I mean, like from the moment we left to the moment we got back, every meal he ordered was a dud, and he was so mad. He was so bummed out. I think it was Connecticut because I got a really amazing risotto, wild mushroom risotto with salmon. That was like just the craziest thing of. It was so good, and he got the worst thing ever. Like, I think I let him have half of my meal because he was so sad. But yeah, that was like a hilarious trip where it was just like, I don't know what you did, but you goosed yourself for like a solid 5 days.
Yeah. And then I have one more. Well, first, I just want to publicly thank you. You know, you were an early adapter and believer in the project, and I'm just a big fan of your work and what you're doing and just your passion outside of the label. Just kind of you're a great human being, and I think that you're really inspiring to a lot of people. And so early on, just to kind of connect with you and get that vibe, and then we've just been blessed to connect at different points of the journey. But I just wanted to publicly face to face thank you. You know, it means a
So
lot.
sweet.
Yeah, it was just a random idea we had, and to have people like yourself who are so creative and passionate to buy in means a lot. So thank you for that. And then as somebody who's 3-4 years later now has a career being creative and doing what they love, would you have any advice for somebody? What have you learned since last spoke, or would you tell them to run?
Craft beer specific
Oh,
or
no, I don't. Yeah, I think that we play in this craft beer space, but I really just want to inspire people to do what they believe in. Yeah, I don't really care about the
yeah.
beer part.
I mean, I guess when people ask me that question, I always just say like keep creating and don't wait for the dream job that you want because 99% of the time it's not going to come knocking on your door. Every
Hmm.
once in a while you just kind of dumb fall into something and it turns out well. But I always tell people, if you really want to make a craft beer label, then make one. Just make it and you can send it to a brewery. Like if you have a brewery that you like, just make them a label and send it off to them. They might not ever respond to you. They might tell you like go float a boat, but you might also hit a brewery that's like, oh, our designer's a jerk or just quit or whatever, or we're open to having multiple artists do our labels and we really dig your style. And you just never know where it's going to go. And so I think being open to kind of just cold contacting people, that's how I got into like doing roller derby posters. That's how I got into doing band posters. I think that's how I got into doing burlesque posters. I just did it and I just sent it to somebody that I knew. And one person each time said yes. And then it just snowballed into having lots of different clients. And then the other thing is, even if you never get anybody to like actually use it, if you do ever get an interview at a job like that, you now have a portfolio of work that you can say like, yeah, none of this was ever actually used, but I made 20 beer labels. That shows a hell of a lot of initiative, and it shows the dedication and the passion for the kind of work. So I always just tell people like, just keep making stuff. Like if you have a super boring day job, you know, we all have, you know what I mean? Like be making your artwork on the side and keep that portfolio, you know, current and up to date. And that also is just good for your skill set to make sure that you're constantly kind of honing your skills a little bit. Yeah, that's what I would say. Make your own freaking magic. Don't wait around for it. Like,
yeah, that's what I did.
you know?
I came up with a podcast idea. I convinced people like yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. And like I said, I think we said this before when I talked to you the first time, but you know, I really appreciate as an artist in craft beer that, you know, you are doing something like this, because I think with, I mean, I'm sure the number's lower now because of COVID, but before it was like 8,000 craft breweries in the United States. All of them, maybe a small percentage of them are using shitty clip art, but like almost all of them, right, are hiring and paying artists right now. That's amazing. Like that's super cool. And it's, I think there's such fantastic packaging artwork being made in craft beer, and craft beer is so weird, and I love it. Like I love that it's just like there's no rules. You can do whatever you want. You can be as gross or as violent or as dirty or dorky or nerdy as you want to be, and there's somebody out there that's going to be into it. There's just not a lot of industries like that, like that have that much creative room, you know, and that many brands. Because most places, even pot, right? Like that's such a like could be such an open-ended thing, but there's not that many companies, right? There's like only so many big players making those products. Some are trying to be very like high end, and some are trying to be very like woo woo. And then there's the like, no, you're just like this weird guy that likes to smoke pot. We're gonna put a weird clown on it. Like, it's only like 4 categories, you know. There's not a lot
The
of
segmentation of pot. Yeah.
right?
I went to
Like,
Vegas, and it was like, I went to Vegas to a place, and it was like $1,000 for like a blunt, like a gold laced blunt, and I was like, I don't even know like what's happening. Like, what is that? What does that mean? Like, am I smoking the gold? Is it just like I take the wrapper off? Like, is it like a tinfoil? Right? Am I smoking on an apple? Like, I didn't know where I fell in the whole thing, and I was like, yeah. But it was Vegas, so it was just kind of this like, look, it's wrapped in gold. And I was like, okay, like, what does that mean? It's only $1,000. Is it $1,000 and only are never the words I want to use with weed? Yeah. Out of here.
Yeah, no, it's weird. So, you know, I would, you know, you would think that'd be a comparable industry, but it's so different. Like it's just so completely different. So yeah, I mean, I like that it's super wacky and weird. So yeah, I appreciate that you're documenting all this stuff, because, you know, the bubble could burst someday and maybe there won't be all these people making all this super weird art, you know, and like it would be nice to have this little time capsule of this time in history when, you know, beer was still cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like 50 years from now, it might be like the gin revolution. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? You know?
It's like, oh, here's your droplet. It's like, oh,
nobody ever would have thought that like hard seltzer was going to become such a thing, you know?
Yeah, it's going, so
it's huge.
We keep what we say. We're going to try to do a book. We have no idea how to do a book, but when we do, we'll reach out to you and have you be included, have your own chapter of your art and designs and stuff like that. So we have no idea how to do that. So just bear with us. But
yeah, I mean, if you find, there's definitely a lot of publishers that are very into just like art books.
Yeah, I want to do more like a coffee table. I'm more like a coffee table book. I feel I'm not going to pretend I'm going to write about it, but I just think it'd be open up this nice thick book and just look at like very high res photos. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, I could look at, so I've been published in 2 different art books, and I could look at the publishers on them because they both are very into just like that. Like one was like the Golden Girls house dissected, and it was literally a dude that wrote a book. It's amazing as a Golden Girls freak, where it's like, here's the swatches from the couch. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is a fucking book. And then the other one is a roller derby.
I need that link. I need that from, oh my God, that's so good.
And then the other one's roller derby poster art. And it's just hundreds of awesome roller derby posters. So there's publishers out there that I think would probably be into that for sure.
Cool. And then you're getting married. So when is that? Like, how do you plan a wedding during this?
You don't. You just tell everybody that it's going to happen someday when it's safe for everybody. So right now we're not even trying it for this year.
Now you teetering on like, hey, we should just get married and just not have it like the whole thing.
That's been the discussion of like, should we just courthouse it and then have a big party in like a year or two and like, do something big then? Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. At first we were like, we're going to track when everyone's getting vaccinated. And now the vaccination thing is just like so slow that I'm like,
I'm like, I probably would have gone for the party because like you get the same hall, you call it a party versus calling it a wedding. It's like 3 times multiplier. It's like,
Well, yeah, we're like about to buy a house. So it's also like a little bit like legally, I'm like, should we just get this over with? Because then like it kind of tidies everything up a little bit, So we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, that was my other good thing that happened in 2020 is I got engaged. So it wasn't
I brought it all together.
Good job.
Well, I appreciate you, and I think very highly in the world of you, and your energy is just super positive, and every time I see you, I got a smile on my face, and yeah, if there's anything I can do to help that Toppling Goliath brand, I know they're just cracking into a few states, so yeah.
Yeah, let us know when whatever this is when you're doing it. Now that we actually have a marketing director, she might actually do something with it because I'm not very good at like marketing myself.
All right. Well, we got you. Well, yeah, we appreciate you. And hopefully, this is our third connection. So I've probably seen you more than any of our other guests, which is pretty cool. And so we'll get together soon. And if not, you'll be married. If not, you'll be, who knows? Who knows what tomorrow brings?
I'll talk to you again in 3 years and we can just talk about whatever new,
major life thing
is happening then.
Yeah, hopefully it can be in person over like a campfire where we can laugh and not be like, okay, I feel like I log off, I crawl into this desk and I sleep here till tomorrow and just pop back up. But yeah, it'll be good.
Well, it was super good talking to you. I appreciate you being flexible today. My day got all crazy and weird. So I appreciate your flexibility on that. And yeah, take care.
You broke the fourth window. No one needed to know.
No one needed to know. So I hope that you stay healthy and, keep your sanity. That's kind of all I can hope for people these times.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
I'm still doing do you do the wave goodbye? I'm trying to.
Yeah. I always feel like it's just weird to be like, and then just cut off.
Yeah.
I usually like.
Yeah. Because I'm like, so I do it and so you don't do it back. And I'm just like, oh yeah.
They're like, oh, I mean, they're not looking at you anyways. They're looking for their stupid double buttons.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Bye-bye.